Assalamu alaikum. So, this is my convert story. It's been long overdue. I've been meaning to do this video for quite a while. So, how did I come to find Islam? How did I learn about Islam? I first heard the word Muslim after 9/11. I kept hearing the word and I didn't know what it meant, so I decided to do some research, and that was my initial contact with the word Muslim. It was from hearing that word everywhere I went right after 9/11. And up until that point, I had no idea what Islam was, what Muslim meant. And if I had heard it, it was just something that was beyond me. I just didn't have any knowledge whatsoever. So I went to a bookstore on White Avenue called Chapters and tried to find anything I could. There was a book by Penguin called The Quran, spelled with a K. So I purchased that. As life would have it, I put the book aside and continued living my life. And some time passed and I saw the book in the corner and I decided, you know what? Let me give this a read. After reading it, it just got to the initial page and the first few words. I always tell people, when it comes to this deen, when it comes to Islam, when it comes to being a Muslim, I feel as though we are guided. Allah guides whom He wills. Allah guides us. Not everybody will be able to receive the message because they are deaf, blind. Do you understand? Not everyone's going to be able to receive the words. Not everyone will have an open heart and an open mind. That's why I believe, and a lot of religious people will say, I didn't find God, God found me. I didn't find... So when people ask me how I found Islam, I say, Islam found me. Allah guided me to Islam. In Islam, we believe in... There's a word, maktub, means it's written. It is written. And we believe in qadr. I'm not saying that right. Qadr, qadr, is in Islam a predestination. That means everything is predestined by Allah, and that's our belief. When I say that, when I opened my heart to learn about Islam, it was at that moment where I was guided to something. I felt myself opening up to that, if that makes any sense. So when I decided it was time, and I took the time and I said, okay, I'm ready to read this now, and I opened it, it was like the words touched me and I wanted to keep reading and keep reading and keep reading. And then that transformed into wanting to learn more and trying to find any Muslim that I could ask questions. I was so... Because after 9/11, I had only heard bad things, and actually hearing those bad things are what led me to seek out and say, I gotta figure out what this is. Gosh, do I need to be afraid? Who are these people? Are they gonna... It's like the boogeyman. Are they gonna come for me in the night? So yeah, it was at that point I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta find out more. As life would happen, as life would have it, a few of my cousins came over, and when they came over, they had brought a friend with them. He was Moroccan, he was Muslim. And when we were all talking, and then he said something, and I heard the word Muslim, and I was like... And then I got to asking questions. And when a Muslim meets a person who's curious about the deen, and they see that that person is... So he was only too happy to answer my questions. When a Muslim comes across a person who really genuinely is like, hey, share with me what the message is, share with me what it's all about, they're only so happy to answer your questions. So he was really like, wow, really want to know about it, wow, okay. And he started talking, and he was so animated, and I was so animated, and they were all just like, okay, So we exchanged numbers and stuff, and I just kept getting the dawah. And he was like, yeah, you know, I know some sisters, I can hook you up with them and they can give you some more information, you know, from a female point of view, from a sisterly point of view and stuff. And you know, I mean, what are the chances? What are the chances that I just happen to be at this exact moment in time? What are the chances that my cousins who never came over decided to come over that day and bring a Muslim with them? I mean, it's all maktub, it's all written. There's just no way there's just no other way to look at that. Okay, so from that point on, because of meeting this Moroccan guy, I started meeting other Muslims and I started learning so much. And there's a series called The Arrivals. There's so much controversy over the series, but I mean, I don't care. There's always, if you can get some benefit from something, you know, so I don't listen to all the noise. I watch the series. I come to my own thoughts, my own conclusions, and so I watched this documentary, and when I say it opened my eyes to so much, I had never had any of the information that I was given, and just point of views and how you view things, and the smoke and mirrors and Hollywood. It really opened my eyes to a different world. Before that, I would say I was completely lost, and my eyes were completely closed to so much that was going on in the world. After watching this series, and then, you know, from getting more dawah and more information, and I wouldn't call it conspiracy theories, because conspiracy theory is basically, I mean, there's just so much stigma around that word, so I don't even like to use it really per se, but I mean, that's what I watched. Some documentaries, and again, just really opened my eyes to the world that I was living in. And before watching any of these things, I was just, they say ignorance is bliss. Well, what an understatement, because my thoughts, my thought pattern, everything just started changing. I became so aware of my surroundings, became aware of what I was doing. So, you know, it went through a phase, and some of it was really dark, because when you're just living in ignorance and you don't know the things that are going around you, going on in the world, and then all of a sudden it's just like, whoosh, someone just takes the blanket, like, just right off your head, and you're just like, whoa. Slow down. Okay, whoa. I haven't seen daylight in years. Take it easy. That's how I felt. I was so overwhelmed. It was a lot. So I had to stop. Because the information I was getting, it wasn't just Islamic, you know, it wasn't dawah. It was, a lot of it was just, you know, this is the world we live in. Not everything is as it seems, and there is a lot of agendas going on in the world that most people are just blind to it. Everyone just, you know, we're all sheep. Everyone just goes about their daily lives, right? It's a lot for a person all at once. So yeah, I kind of just, okay, enough is enough. I'm gonna just put this on the back burner for now, and I'm gonna, because it's so much easier to just say, hey, not my problem, and I don't want to think about it. You ask yourself, like, is this the world we're living in? What's wrong with people? So I got to the point where I was just like, I don't want I don't want the info. Ignorance is bliss, and you know, it's a lot easier to just be that. So I put everything on the back burner, and my eyes were open and I had the information, but I wasn't doing anything with it. Now, fast forward some years past, and Allah has a way of, you know, for Muslims, our iman is up and down. It's like a roller coaster for a lot of people. And if you're one of these people who your iman is sky high, MashaAllah, tabarakallah, that's great for you. You know, but not everyone has that journey. Not everyone is just going to be... The reality is, especially in Western society, we are faced with a lot. It eats at you, and we're all human, right? We're not robots. So I think, you know, society being the cancer that it is at times, yeah, it affects us. It's like if you're just surrounded in a big city with like buildings and power lines all over you, and then you take yourself out of that and you go to the mountains and you sit in nature. It's like a reset. It's like someone unplugged. It's like a software update. It's like you're plugged out of the matrix, and it's just like wow, you feel refreshed and not so tense. You feel your shoulders relax, and it's just like, this is kind of how life is supposed to be. So I found my iman was up and down, and Allah has a way of making you. He's like, okay, you don't want to recognize, you don't want to behave, and like you don't want to live your life how it should be lived. Okay, I'll put you in a situation that's gonna make you remember me. Because isn't it true that like when any calamity like falls on anyone, what's the first thing they're gonna say? Oh my God. Anytime you get stressed out or scared or like you're freaking out or you're anxious, or it's God, oh my God. It's the first thing we go to. But yet when everything's good and everything's just, you're chilling, you're relaxing, it's not supposed to be that way. So I got myself in certain situations that were not good. I got myself in situations that forced me to realize, okay, this lifestyle isn't good. This lifestyle isn't going to get me anywhere but locked up, dead. I mean, what am I doing? Sometimes it's only when you're faced with such a horrible situation where you have no choice but to stop and say, okay, God, I'm gonna give you the time now, because that's all you have is time. So I was faced with a situation where it was like, okay, that's it. This is the dead end. There's nowhere to go. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna lie down and die? Are you just gonna give up? Or are you going to acknowledge that there is a higher power and that you are living a haram lifestyle and you need to change? And that's what happened to me. I made the decision to just stop doing bad things. And to say I was an alcoholic, or to say that I used to drink alcohol, I think that would be kind of like sugarcoating, candy coating it. No, I'm gonna call it what it was. I was an alcoholic. I literally would drink, and I'm not exaggerating, I literally would drink alcohol like it was water. I don't even understand how, I don't understand how I got through life, because literally my diet was cigarettes, coffee, Red Bull, and alcohol. And I don't really understand how, I don't even know how I'm alive right now. Like literally I would wake up in the morning, my beer of choice was Heineken. I would literally wake up in the morning, open the fridge, and have a beer. A cigarette and a beer. That was my breakfast. And I would proceed to keep drinking throughout the day. Hard alcohol, vodka, rum, you name it. If it was alcohol, I was drinking it. And I'm talking from the minute I opened my eyes to the moment that I went to sleep. I don't understand. Looking back now, I'm like, how did I even... When I say I was in a haram lifestyle and I was doing haram things, I was selling drugs. You know, when I look back and I sometimes I think back and I don't... It's almost like I was empty inside and I was just going through the motions. I don't think there was no soul or any, it was like just an emptiness. when I think back to that girl, it's very, very, very difficult to recognize and say, like, it's very hard to, I just don't recognize that person. I don't relate to that person. But that's my past and that's who I was. So when people say, do people change? Well, yes, they do. Can people change really drastically? Yes, they can. But at the same time, I mean, I am that same person. All of that is something that, you can't just erase your past, right? Sure, I've changed. Sure, I don't recognize or relate to a lot of the things that I did before. But the frame of mind that I must have been in is something that it's hard to relate to now because I'm in a completely different space. I just don't relate to that at all. But at the same time, like, just the other day I had an incident where somebody was provoking me to the point of no return. And I felt that anger, and I thought, for a split second, I thought, oh wow, is that the old me coming back? Because we can change our behavior, we can change, and we can, when we come to Islam, it's like, we're still that same person. Sure, we change our behaviors, but if provoked, I felt like that old person come back for a split second, and then I was like, no, that won't be good. Let's just repress that. Like, even with family members, sometimes they'll look at me and be like, damn, you've changed. And I always say change is good. I mean, there's change for the better and change for the worse. If you change for the better, then obviously it's good, right? What I find difficult about, my past and thinking back about it is sometimes it's brought up. And it's really unfortunate because they say that people who bring up your past are just jealous of your present or where they think that you're going. But like for me, in Islam, there is no judging. I mean, literally, when you decide to accept Islam, Allah forgives all of your sins. You literally are like a baby. Your slate is wiped clean. That's it. And that was, in accepting Islam, that was something that I struggled with before I knew that. I was like, well, but I did this, and the sheikh told me, and I had Muslims tell me, listen, no, and that's in the Quran, and they showed me the ayah, and I was like, whoa, really? Okay. So that relaxed me a bit. I was like, oh, okay, so your all of your sins are forgiven, because that's something that really weighed on me. Now, but something that I just want to bring up, and it's really important. So if someone decides to accept Islam, and we know that Allah forgives all sins, if you truly are sincere in your intention, and you are sincere in your repentance, then Allah forgives all sins and your slate is wiped clean, okay? We know that. So then why do some Muslims think that it's okay to bring up someone's past, or to judge them based on that, or to say like, well, I'd never marry someone with a... I just think there's a lot of judgment. It's not Islam. It's not the spirit of brotherhood or sisterhood. No, it's not. I just want to say, for anyone watching, if you know someone who's Muslim, who literally has changed all of their ways, don't judge them. If Allah can accept their sins, then who are you? Do you know what I mean? Okay, so moving on. So when it came to deciding to convert and telling my family, oh my God. Okay, so when I first converted, okay, and just a little bit of backstory. My grandma is like hardcore religious, okay? She's hardcore Christian, okay? So coming to, you know how older black ladies are when it comes to Jesus. What? Peace be upon him. So, like, can you imagine going to, what? When I first told her, man, I said the word Muslim came out of my mouth. I'm surprised she didn't beat me over the head with a frying pan. She was like not having any of it. Oh, no. after converting, I needed backup. I wasn't about to go to her house alone. No, I was like, she's gonna put some spell on me. She's gonna start praying over me, and I just can't handle it. Okay, it was a lot. So I was like, okay, I got my little brother to come with me, and thank God I did, because so I was strong in my faith, and I was like, okay, no matter what happens, I'm just gonna try to explain to her. So I went to her house, and when I got in there, she saw me. She looked at me. She saw that I had the hijab on. She walked away, and I was like, oh, she's not even gonna talk to me. She came back with a DVD in her hand, and I was like, oh, she's giving me a movie. Okay. Do you want to know what this DVD said? It said like terrorism, Islam. Man, I was so shocked that I just started I burst out in tears, and I ran out of the house. I went to the car, and before running out, I remember my brother saying, Granny, what's wrong with you? Don't treat her like that. And then he left, and he came to the car, and he was like, hey, listen, sis, I support you. We never talked about it, and I don't think my brother even knows how much that moment meant to me. You know, what helped was reading stories about Islam in the beginning, early Islam, and how the Prophet ﷺ went through so much. I remember going there one time, and I tried to say Bismillah before I ate food, and it was, so like in the beginning, it was so hard. But watching all of these, reading stories about Sahaba and early Islam, and it really helped. It really helped because they went through all of that. They went through, that and worse. So yeah, it helped. And my brother in that moment, he gave me so much words of encouragement and was like, hey, I don't care what religion you are. I don't care. Like, I love you. You're my sister. Just don't even worry or stress. Look, he's like, I've seen a change in you. I think it's good. I think it's great. And that meant so much. So if you're someone watching this and you have a Muslim in your family, you know someone who converted, and you find it really hard to accept them, trust me, there's no difference. We're all just people. It would mean the world to them for you to just give a little bit of encouragement, because all that hate and animosity and fear that you feel for that person, trust me when I say it's not valid. Stop listening to the propaganda and the media. Just go have a conversation with that person, and you'll see. There's so much Islamophobia. People fear what they don't know. And I feel like even if people are presented with the truth, they still would not be willing to accept it or even admit, because everyone is just so stuck in their way. And as I mentioned before, it's easier to be ignorant. Ignorance is bliss. Fast forward to today, and my grandma, oh my God, she's so amazing. She went from that to being like, Assalamu alaikum. And, like telling me, I got you some halal meat. Come over, I'm gonna cook you some halal food. MashaAllah, tabarakallah, I'm blessed. I'm blessed, because a lot of people still don't have that. With respect to other family members and stuff, there's support, and then there's the support, and then there's like, and I'm just gonna keep it real, and I'm not gonna say any family member's name so that people feel bad, because it's not my intention to make anyone feel bad. So yeah, I remember being in a situation after I converted, and I was like, I needed help. I was in a bad situation, okay? And I called one of my family members, and they were like, ask your Muslim friends. And I was like, but so sometimes there's people who say they support you, and there's some Christians who just really, there's a deep-rooted hatred for Islam. And sometimes it's not personal, it's not you, it's just when people are religious and they have their faith, I feel like some people are just in this box, and it's just like, this is why I love listening to Hamza Yusuf. If you don't know who Hamza Yusuf is, he's an amazing lecturer. Please go watch any of his videos. He's this white guy from America. He's a convert, don't know if he's a scholar per se. I believe so. I just know he does amazing lectures. He studied in Mauritania with the real Islamic scholars. They were his teachers. He's amazing. And I love listening to his lectures because I feel like he just gets it. He has this world view and his eyes are so open to, he's so knowledgeable. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. So that's my gift to you. If you've never heard of Hamza Yusuf, you want to learn about just Islam from a scholarly point of view, but also a worldly point of view, listen to Hamza Yusuf lectures. It will definitely open your eyes to a lot, like I said. But Iman is up and it's down. I was at a point in my life, I was studying so much, and I wanted more than anything in this life, okay? This was right before I got married, actually. I wanted anything, I didn't want anything more than to just find a madrasa and go and learn about Islam. I wanted to learn Arabic. I wanted to learn about the scholars. I wanted to learn about my Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I wanted to just learn, and that's it. I didn't care about worldly things. I didn't want money to survive. Okay, if I'm in a madrasa and I paid whatever fee there is, hopefully they'll feed me and give me room and board. This, more than anything, that's what I wanted. So I posted on Facebook, and people answered and started telling me about Egypt and Morocco, and so I did some research, and I found out about, this is when I found out about the very first college, the first university, Al Karawin in Morocco, in Fez, which I was so fortunate to actually visit after I married my husband. Oh man, when I visited that Al Karawin, I got so emotional. By the way, that was founded by a Muslim woman. I believe her name was Fatima. I believe that where there's a will, there's a way. I believe because Allah has opened so many doors for me. Allah's opened, anytime I've actually just asked Allah for anything, anytime I've ever prayed and been sincere, it's happened. I shouldn't be, I'm not bragging about that. I'm just showing you that if you are sincere in what you ask Allah, I'm just saying, I've gotten a few messages from brothers actually, and they've asked me, they were like, I see that you're married, mashallah, I want to get married so badly, but I can't. And I'm like, well, I first of all, I don't know how to respond to that, because I mean, I'm not an imam. I can't marry you, and I don't know what to tell you exactly. All I can tell you is, what I did and how it happened for me, and I could say, well, maybe go to your local masjid and talk to your imam. Maybe they know somebody. I'm hearing that there's Muslim apps now, that like Muslim marriage, nikah, these things. If you're sincere, just take away all the nonsense, okay? Just take away all the nonsense and be sincere and talk to your creator. I'm gonna share something with you, and it's I might get emotional. I hope I don't start crying. I'm such a crybaby. But just to reiterate what I'm saying and drive the point home, I'm gonna share this story with you. Do you remember I said basically I was an alcoholic and I was doing bad things and I was selling drugs? One day I had just come back from selling drugs, and something came over me. I was feeling very there was a lot of low points in my life, but I don't know, this one stands out to me the most, so I'm gonna say that this probably was the lowest I ever felt, okay? I came back to that apartment. I was in Fort McMurray at the time. Something came over me and I felt so, how do I even put this into words? I'm trying, please bear with me. I wanted to change. I didn't want this lifestyle I was living. I did not want to do the things I was doing. I realized that what I was doing was bad, and all of the bad things that I had ever done up until that point, it's like someone put every bad deed that I did on top of my head, and it was pushing me into the ground. Literally, that's how I felt. Oh man, that's so. I started like bawling and crying like an injured dog. To this day, I don't know how nobody called the police, or like, because I was crying so hard and so loud, and to hear it, I'm just thinking back now, I was on the floor. I was on the floor, like, curled up in a ball, and I remember getting my laptop, and okay, mind you, at this exact point in my life, I was doing so much haram, and I was drinking, and I was just, and in this moment, I remember getting my laptop and opening it, and I went to YouTube, and I typed in, because I didn't know how to pray the Islamic way, and I typed in how to pray Islam, and then so I played that video, and I was trying to go through the motions, not knowing anything about ablution or wudu, and then I just started talking. I just started talking to Allah. I'm sorry, this is just, it's so hard to like relive that moment. Everything that was inside of me came out. I was just on the ground, and I was just saying, please, 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 I don't want to live this life anymore. And I said, please, please, please. I said, I don't want to live this life anymore. I don't want to hurt people anymore. I don't want to, like, literally everything inside of me just came out. It went straight from the brain to my mouth, and it just came out. I don't remember all that I said, but I remember just saying, I don't want to hurt people anymore, and I don't want to do anything bad anymore. I was there on that ground. I don't know how long. Maybe it was an hour. Maybe it was 3 hours. I don't know. But all I know is, afterwards, I felt just empty. Literally, I was empty, man. I don't even know how I picked myself up. When I did get up, I went and I washed my face in the washroom, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I felt different. I'm sorry, but I can't put it exactly into words what happened in that exact moment, but I'm gonna tell you one thing. I went and I slept. When I woke up the next morning, it was January 1st, I believe it was 2008. The first thing I did, I went to the kitchen, I took all the alcohol that I had, and I poured it down the drain. That was the last time that I ever touched alcohol. I was literally an alcoholic the night before. I remember asking Allah once, I had been in a haram relationship, and I want to point out something. I mean, it's not easy to admit this, but for a lot of young girls, maybe there's somebody or someone's going to watch this and maybe get some benefit from it. So I went through a phase where I was really promiscuous. I mean, I feel like in Western society, it's kind of just like the norm here, right? Have a boyfriend, have a girlfriend, do this, do that. Marriage comes later, yeah, we have these sayings, right? Why buy the milk when you can get the cow for free? In growing up, I feel like I'm so blessed to have had the dad that I have. He's an amazing role model. He's like the best guy I've ever known. My dad is amazing. But there was a point in time when my dad wasn't around, and I was going through a phase where I was just rebellious and no one could talk to me. I knew it all, and I just was gonna do whatever it is I wanted to do. One thing that, like, before Islam, I didn't talk to my mom at all. Before like Islam, I didn't even want to have a conversation with her. I don't want to say that I like hated her. I guess you could say that I didn't forgive her. I didn't forgive her for how she treated me in that situation. I didn't forgive her that she wasn't there for me. I held that grudge, and I was upset and mad, and I didn't have any time for her, and I didn't want to talk to her, and I didn't even acknowledge her as my mother, okay? Now, coming to Islam now, it really changed my viewpoint, because the mother is so... the mother is everything. Seeing how these Muslim guys, the mom is on a pedestal. There's a hadith that says paradise is at your mother's feet. The only person that actually gave me any problems was my grandma. When it came to my mom and my dad, oh man, talk about support. My mom was like, I'm so proud of you, and you're so beautiful in your hijab. And my dad was like, princess, you're glowing. You're so beautiful. I love it. And they were so supportive. The feeling that I had when I first put on hijab, I was feeling so proud of myself, you know. And I remember I posted a picture on Facebook, and I don't remember who shared it, but someone did. And I remember someone sharing, you know, oh, this sister just converted to Islam. And all of a sudden, there was people from the UK and from America and from Pakistan, from UAE, you know, welcome to Islam, sister. If you need anything. I was like, what? The brotherhood is real. It took a lot for me to realize that. In the beginning, it was just, well, I'm young and I'm rebelling and I'm mad at the world. As an adult, you come to realize, wow, I remember they sacrificed for me, and they did that for me, and wow. There was times when we didn't have food, and I remember them making sure we ate, and they wouldn't eat. And I remember seeing the look on their face and just imagining how hungry they must have been. And so I'm so blessed that I don't want to get evil eye. So please say mashallah, make dua, please. So in conclusion, I just want to say that I am so grateful, alhamdulillah, for Islam. Alhamdulillah that I was able to change my life for the better. And you know, it's a never-ending road. It's every day you strive to get better. You try to improve yourself. As I said before, Iman is a thing that goes up and down. It's not even keeled. And I think that's what the Deen teaches us: to love and to respect and to obey and to strive to be better human beings. Strive to love our parents, one another, and even if we have differences, just, you know, be civil and tolerant. We believe in the oneness of Allah, and we believe in peace. At the root of it, peace and humanity. This Deen has helped me, and inshallah it'll continue to help me. Assalamu alaikum. I thank you for watching this, and I hope that you got some benefit from it.